who stand firm and defend their faith. We hope that believers can be built in what they believe. They can be confident with reasons why they believe what they believe. They can grow in their ability to differentiate between true and error, between good and right, sometimes between right and almost right, so that they will not be deceived. Our goal is for biblical discipleship and the building of the Church of Christ, of whom you are among.
Oh yes, you are among and you ought to be protected. That's why they are here. And you and I can agree, Reverend, that women played a very big role when it comes to the ministry of Jesus Christ. They moved with Jesus Christ, and even up to now, we see so many women in churches playing a very important role. Question is, why are women being the greatest target when it comes to cults?
It is important for us to recognize that since time immemorial, women have been the majority in any community or congregation, no matter where you look. Whether it is in a good church or in a false religious group, women are always the majority. And so the fight against deception and cults cannot be won by any church without considering women or making them central in our efforts to fight deception. You will recognize that women are not just the majority in any congregation, but majority of women easily believe. Now, this does not necessarily mean every woman is just going to believe naively, but partly it has to do with how God has made us. That while men may approach things critically, most women approach things by feeling and emotion. Wherever there is an altar call, the number of people who come forward, women will always be among the majority. And the same thing happens in a cult group. When a cult group is appealing to people to join their ranks, majority will be women. We should also remember that when it comes to Bible training or theological education, men usually have the privilege to go for such training because they are expected to be leaders of their families and their churches. Most of the women do not have this opportunity, and they are therefore the least equipped. Whenever cultists come, they are the most deceived because they are the least trained in what the Bible teaches concerning their faith. We should also remember that in a context like ours here in Uganda, majority of women still do not work. They stay at home as housewives, as mothers, and when the cultists come in their neighborhood seeking to proselytize them, whom do they find at home? Majority will be women. What is even interesting is that you could have a man who is biblically trained. He may even be a pastor, by the way. But while he is out ministering to the church members, there are cult missionaries talking to his wife, convincing her to join them. So even the pastors are not safe. And as long as your wives are at home and they are not trained enough to understand their faith, they are going to become targets of cults. Let's also quickly remember that these women are not just at home, but they also play a pivotal role in the family setup and stability most of the time with children. And therefore, the worldview that the children develop as they grow up is likely to come more from the mother than from the father. So, if a woman is deceived and led into error, if she has 6 children, there is a chance that she's going into error with them. And of course, when the family breaks down, the church breaks. Broken families make broken churches. When the church breaks down, the community or the nation breaks down. So you can see that at the center of real biblical discipleship and church growth is women. And how we disciple them, how we help them understand the Christian faith is critically important. You could have all the men trained biblically and theologically, but if majority of the women still do not know the what and the why of the faith, we cannot win the battle against cults and false teachers. And that's what makes them very important for us to talk about today.
Wow. You know, when you talk about if a woman is deceived, I mean, they can lead the whole family into error. I remember Eve. She was deceived, and where are we? One woman. One woman.
Very important. Yeah.
Yes, so it is important that we secure our ladies, and that's where it leads me to what this means to the church and what the church can do about this.
As a church, like I said, we must recognize that majority of the people in our congregation are women. Most of these women do not have opportunities for Bible education or training. Yet they have a great influence in the way the church ministry runs or society as a whole is shaped. And if we ignore women discipleship and formation spiritually for them, we will be prone to the challenge and vulnerability of cults. I would strongly challenge church leaders, wherever you are, to intentionally focus on spiritually forming women in your church, equipping them with Bible knowledge and sound doctrine, that on the basis of these, they would guard their faith, they would protect their children, they would work alongside their husbands to not only grow in their faith, but share it with the community around them. Women growing in the faith, women guarding the faith is what keeps the church stable in the fight against falsehoods.
Talking about women, we have girls on the other side, and we clearly understand that many daughters out there have actually also joined the cults, and one could be asking themselves, or we could be posing the question to you, how and why did your daughter join a cult or a false religious group?
As we speak to you this morning, brothers and sisters, and especially parents, we recognize that the challenge of deception is real. In fact, some of you, as you listen to us, you are already heartbroken and concerned about your children, particularly your daughters. You are worried that they may have joined a false religious group or a dangerous movement, and you are so concerned, but you don't know what to do about them. And perhaps you are wondering, can Family TV, particularly Word of Life, offer me a solution or a way to rescue my daughter from this potential distraction? If you are one of those, we have good news for you, that there is actually help for you and for your daughter. But for that to happen, you need to understand some of the factors that lead or might have led your daughter into a false religious movement, so that you know how to easily help them out. A number of people are usually drawn to cultic groups for particularly two major reasons. Reason number one is the tactics that the cultic group uses to hoodwink members, and especially women, as we noted earlier. But number two is the personal vulnerabilities of these young women as well. And some of those may be emotional, they may be spiritual, they may be intellectual, they may be economical. For instance, talking about the emotional aspect, we recognize that at the heart of every human being is a longing to be loved. And when it comes to our girls and daughters, that becomes even much more prominent. That our young girls would like to be loved by their parents and to feel that they matter and that they are at the center of their parents' considerations. When they do not feel loved well, that longing for love is likely to drive them to a person or a group that seems to offer that love and fill the void more than the parents have done. Your young girl has come to university for the first time. Maybe she had not even been in the city before, and here she is. She does not know many people. She has come to a university, and she meets a group of people who identify themselves as Christians. They embrace her, they receive her into their ranks, they bomb her with a lot of love, more than you have ever given her. And for the first time, she feels a more family connection with this group than she does with her biological family. And guess what's going to happen? Just as they have given her their all, she's going to give them her all without even thinking about it. So as parents, particularly mothers, do you have that loving connection with your daughter that has set a standard of what true love really looks like for your child? That they don't have a longing or a need to crave for somebody else's love, particularly that of cult leaders. As we noted earlier, most of the women are not just emotional, but they really respond very well, especially to things to do with Jesus. As the Daphne noted,